Mainstream media is supposed to cover, report on, and talk about general problems and worries that everyday common folk have, or the working and lower classes. Yet, they only seem to care about 6% of their viewers? Wait, what? Hey my dudes, how's it hanging? It's your boy, ZNF1 here. So, apparently there's some things out there that the mainstream media doesn't really want us to know about, and that they kind of keep more on the down low. So what exactly would that be? What could the mainstream media of all things be hiding from us? They don't hide things from us. Before we go into that though, let's cue intro. All mainstream news media outlets tend to sit there and say that they care about what the whole population says, or what everyday people care about, yet they only apply their content or make content that applies to a very small percentage of them. Why would they do that if they care about the whole population? It's a little messed up, isn't it? Mainstream media, or the mainstream press, used to be a lot less polarized, bipartisan, and impartial. Much more fluid / open, and not so polar and biased. Now, most of the time when you look at mainstream media outlets and the content putting out there, it's very limited on views and pretty biased towards two parties. Can you guys guess which ones those are? Journalism, the profession, used to be so full of rebels, people that questioned authority, who were a part of the working or lower classes, that worked their way up through the ranks, and those who challenged and opposed authoritarianism to keep the system in check, standing up for justice and against corruption, so that way we all could live a much more zen and peaceful life, a balanced one. For the people, the little guy, the average everyday working class American citizen, the poor, fellow community members, etc. As the more democratic journalism sort of aspect started to grow and gain more economic success over the course of the past 50-ish or so years, the scene sort of split off from the average everyday Joe to more of a higher class sort of reporting status, and caring more about the numbers than what the majority of people actually want. Their economic status kept growing, so these journalists kept earning higher degrees, getting more money, and essentially becoming a part of the upper class. They actually became a part of the upper 10%, according to Bataya Ungar Sargan, author of Bad News: How Woke Media is Undermining Democracy. However, that percentage isn't really too surprising if you think about it a little bit, right? Over time, a lot of these people shifting to the upper class, their reporting interests change, going to, what everyday people worry about, to things like celebrity gossip, what the numbers show that people care about, and just things that they deal with, being in a more comfortable setting. Not really the problems that ordinary people are facing, or those that are struggling. Now it takes a lot more money to become a good journalist, between schooling and unpaid internships. Average everyday Joes and poor class citizens who used to be able to work their way up, they can't afford to do unpaid internships while they're sitting there, working 60+ hour weeks to barely afford their living situations. Like, I know I'm overstressing how many hours a week there are being worked, but it's a lot. People work 40-hour-a-week jobs while going to school, or vice versa, or they can't even afford it. They can only do so much part-time work to barely scrape by. to have a place to live, and they can't afford to do the internships because they're having to sit there and, scrape off the fucking grills and freaking scrub the floors and do all this fucking work so they can just get by. According to Bataya Ngar Sargon, networks/outlets like NYT, NPR, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, etc. take their interns from the top 1% of universities. Wow, very hard to think that, the top 1% of people in universities would really understand the other 99% of them, right? Where have we seen that before? Could have been, I don't know, with maybe the elites of the world and the top businessmen of society? I don't know. So either way, with journalism and this whole situation, it's like it's been completely flipped upside down and the opposite of where it used to be. Because most of these journalists are in the higher class. They generally just care about the numbers, what's hot, what's going to get them more money, what 6% of their audience cares about, using data capture, which is really fucked up, if you think about it, and then selling it off to the highest bidder as well too, and using that data capture as well to make very, very targeted content towards a very small and limited audience. That's all strictly to get a rise out of them, because they know if they make certain content a certain way, it's going to provoke that in them and make them more money. If you think that's bad, in the UK, journalists generally are in the top 2%, and over 80% of journalists there are from the upper class. Really hard to imagine that they'd be able to, understand being in the situations the everyday working class citizen or lower class citizens are in when they're living pretty lavishly. That's ridiculous, bro, isn't it? And here in the US, the journalists are in the top 10%. It's no longer possible to forego a college education and jump right into the news biz. An undergraduate degree is usually not enough either. You're competing against people with master's degrees from Columbia who are doing prestigious, unpaid internships while you were dropping chicken wings into a vat of fryer grease until 6 a.m. to avoid taking out another plus loan. And if you're one of the lucky few who manages to land a job as a reporter, it won't pay enough to cover the enormous debt you incurred to get it. The median salary for journalists is around $41,000 a year, which is roughly $18,000 below the national average. Wow, that's kind of ridiculous. It's almost like the whole ordeal with college half the time, and you not being able to get out and get into a job field and pay off all those debts you incurred while being in college. Now, it's the same thing with this all over again. Then you're making below the national average pay rate, which means you're going to struggle still to get anywhere and to afford the things you want yet again. Unnecessarily, arguably, because you went to college for all that stuff. You should be able to get a job that takes care of your bills and you have a decent amount of money where you can save it or be able to splurge a little bit, and take care of you and your family if you need it. Which, by the way, is the American dream. Journalism is increasingly becoming off limits for all except the privileged few. And this reality can be seen in the composition of America's top newsrooms. A 2018 study by the Journal of Expertise found that 44% of the editorial staff at the New York Times held a degree from an elite university, while the proportion of the Wall Street Journal was nearly half. Reporters and editors at these papers are about as likely to have an elite education as Forbes billionaires and Davos participants. They are more likely than senators, congresspeople, and judges to have graduated from these schools. Now, here's a chart here that represents how many of these people that are in the elite sort of class in society were connected or went to Ivy League schools. So for people of the House of like Congress, 0.206% of them went to an elite school. 30 millionaires, it's 0.338. Federal judges, it's 0.409. Fortune 500 CEOs are 0.410%. Senators are also 0.410%. New York Times editors/writers are at 4.39%, which is bigger than people that are in Congress. Forbes billionaires are at 0.448%. Wall Street journalists and editors, writers are at 0.498%. And the World Economic Forum attendees are 0.546. Forbes powerful women are 0.559. New Republic editors/writers at 0.642%. And then Forbes powerful men are at 0.852%. That's ridiculous, man. Even there it shows you that some of these people have a higher class education than what millionaires or billionaires do even. And like, that's crazy to think. That shows that they went to these elite schools and they obtained sort of this elite status and maintained it because they went to elite schools, which is not unprecedented. Do you feel me? The more education you get, the better off that you are. That's just kind of how things go. How are these journalists supposed to understand what everyday Joes, working class citizens, or lower class citizens are going through if the majority of them are in the upper class? They won't, because they don't live it enough. And nor do these mainstream media, news, or journalism outlets provide a balanced network of journalism staff to report on things. They're predominantly in the upper 10% of the upper class here in America, and over in the UK, it's the upper 2%, which is over 80% made of people that come from upper class backgrounds, which is really messed up, and it's not really going to represent the people like it was meant to well enough when that happens. Only a select few will understand and report on it, and that's going to be it. But they're going to be fucking pushed out of the way because it's predominantly dominated by people that are in the upper class. This makes it very hard, like the printing press was initially created to do, and the start of journalism here in America. This is what Ben Franklin initially made newspapers for, and helped to create the press so that word could get out of corruption and to, create a sense of community and represent the working class citizen and everyday people, and put stuff out there that everyday people talk about. So you tell me, does it really seem like very good and balanced representation of the average everyday person is going to be here when the majority of these people are in the upper class? Now, that's enough about what I think, though. What do you guys think? My adoring members of my tribe, beloved fans, new viewers, etc. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below, and the whole flip-flop and fall of journalism. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Now, I just want to say thank you to you guys that have taken time out of your day to watch this. New viewers, beloved members of my tribe. Now 95 of us are a part of this shit, so let's fucking go. You feel me? And if you guys did enjoy, please don't forget to, like, share, comment, and subscribe. It really does help me to understand what you guys are enjoying that I'm putting out there for you. Plus, helps us to get further up in the YouTube algorithm, further helping others to understand it's okay to question the systems around them and to expose the system even more. If you did make it to the end of this video, however, please leave the word justice in the comment section down below to let me know you made it here and that you guys are part of the 100% Club. Now, if you would like a more interactive experience with us here, feel free to join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8:30, 10:30 p.m. Central Time on stream here on YouTube or Twitch, Facebook, etc. I'll leave links for that down below. Either way, if you want to do that and, just have some chill laid back vibes or talk about this stuff, get a good laugh in, etc., or make fun at stuff like this, in the system, feel free to join us. Always more than willing to have new members or just people show up. Always more than welcome to join. Until next time, though, my dudes, please don't forget to, live long, prosper, take care, and peace, and keep it 1,000,000% real. I'll see you guys on the flip side.